Hi guys, welcome back. Fresh week of trading today on Monday, 17th of June. Obviously, this is, and with that, quite a few big news events brewing this week. Royal Bank of Australia interest rate decision is coming up as well. We get the Swissies, the Switzerland Bank of Switzerland interest rate decision, and with that, we shall go straight to our economic calendar. Royal Bank of Australia coming up tomorrow, which is going to be kind of quite interesting, 4.35% unchanged potentially, at least. And based on the recent figures, well, the likelihood of these interest rates remaining the same for a while might continue. Here we can observe that the Australian dollar against the greenback, against the US dollar, obviously trading on the weaker side of things, slightly at least. And we can see that the market is seemingly finding some strong resistance area. So downside motivation here with the recent trend line potentially going to continue. That's at least the zone we will take care for this week, where market momentum, further bearish market momentum, could be the outcome for the downside motivation, at least here in this market environment, might be kind of due to continue. So opportunities here, selling opportunities, say, might arise, and we'll look for and into this in the next couple of trading days. Obviously, let me resume this into black color and the idea we could see here with further downside formation could be obviously kind of something worth considering here. See, Australian dollar weakness, is that going to continue? We might say yes. First of all, though stock markets are on the upside, right? So quite often the analogy, if equities rise, also the Australian dollar is gearing up momentum. That's currently not the case. The stock markets are rising while the Aussie is trading weaker. Since we talk about equities, upside momentum could continue. The break to the upside here, some kind of waiting pattern, first of all, might be the outcome in this case. Obviously, led by a tech index, not changed. The Nasdaq is still gearing up strong momentum, and hence obviously kind of the upside motivation in equities, and in particular in and for the Nasdaq could be due to continue. The precious metals market, well, in a bit of a sideways pattern. Yeah, so we've seen in particular, let's look at gold, that this market was rising sharply, though these strong pin bar candlestick patterns might cause some sort of further correction here, being about to approach the second half of the month of June right now. Downside motivation might be the outcome. The long wicks here might coincide with further weakness, and that's true for gold, at least. First of all, obviously stronger dollar, as it can be seen, and we can also look into the dollar index. Where do we have it here? A dollar index, there we go, might as well gear up some sort of opportunities here. The market clearly nicely supported. Dollar index here towards the support area, now starting to rise further. It could be something where we should take into consideration upside momentum, pin bar candles, downside momentum, and then thereafter now the market potentially getting ready for upside motivation, which is coinciding with the FX market we talked about. Euro weaker, the pound as well looking set to basically weaken below their recent support area. This kind of zone here is clearly what looks like that the market might just be ready to basically kind of push back to lower price levels after potentially retracing a little bit. The Aussie we talked about, and precious metals are similarly in their direction. Obviously, gold we just talked about was rising sharply and is now basically potentially ready for some sort of downside motivation, first of all. However, silver is kind of staying at a similar range at the moment as well. Silver prices were rising to the upside, sharply in recent months and have now started to retrace a little bit. Let's ignore this pin bar candle. This was basically potentially this basic recent resistance zone, right? So which is where the market kind of tested the highs. These the triple top or this triple top area tested the market, fell and looked like initially 2 months ago the market would be ready to weaken basically with the strength of the dollar back then. However, last month another rocking show here for silver, and now we might see first of all the market in a correctional pattern, but we could have seen that this we might see that this correction is now finished, has now been finished, and the market about to be ready to break back to the upside here at some point. So that's the area here. So anything, this is a resistance turning to support. Anything where the market will resume the upside is where we should look into consideration or take into consideration further market motivation. There are, which we will watch out for in our daily webinars. There are quite a few zones here which we should look and take care of in this case. So also this week might prove some important news in regards to precious metals. Let's move on further. Bank of Australia done and dusted, potentially then on Wednesday. We will follow up with consumer prices from the UK. This could be something interesting depending on how they go. They are expected to weaken again on Thursday. We have the Bank of Japan, I wanted to say, no, the British Central Bank, which is in the UK, about to obviously tell us the new interest rate moving forward. No changes being expected, but there might be some potential surprise here in this market. Let's see on how this goes with the bank there. And let's see if there is any potential adjustment. The pound, meanwhile, weakening somehow. The consumer prices for the British side might again offer some sort of further insights here, which is exactly why we should take care to watch out for this in particular support zone here. Weakness in this market might be indicated by weaker consumer price and maybe even by an adjustment in interest rates to the downside. So downside opportunities here potentially yet to come in regards to the British pound, with this market being into or in our focus here in the next couple of trading days. Crypto markets have been a bit unchanged. Well, last week, Bitcoin was holding up steady, say, with their recent movement. However, it's offering on the weekly chart potential corrections. Altcoins in general, they were all like weaker in this market. So we saw Bitcoin kind of weak. We saw Ether looking kind of quite as if it would go back to the downside here, right? So we saw Bitcoin fluctuating, but quite often Ether being able to make up for previous losses was not the case. So we shall see on how the market is going to perform here in the next couple of trading days. But if we're looking at Solana, XRP, or others, we can see that they all are basically kind of not in a positive shape. 10-20% losses thereabout roughly last week might be an ongoing process. So crypto world at the moment maybe rather, for the altcoin part at least, for short side of things. Looking at the Japanese yen, this is likely strengthening at the moment, at least. The pound JPY slightly lower. We see the dollar against the Japanese yen, well, not doing anything much, but retracing based on last Friday's resistance area. So not too much happening in this market environment. It's a bit of a like the market being, or the markets are searching for their perspective ways and searching for their protective perspective and for their range wherever they might head to. So the big news events obviously dictate and likely are going to dictate what goes. By the way, we forgot about something on Wednesday. We got the central bank SNB, sorry, on Thursday as well. The SNB is coming up again with interest rate with an interest rate announcement. There's not going to be much chat about it, but we could see that a potential rate adjustment at at the moment could be on the cards as well. However, it looks like the rates are going to remain stable. Inflationary figures have been lower in Switzerland. Obviously, prices anyways quite high there, but that's at least what could give us some forward guidance here as well for this week. Let's take a look. Do we have it open here? The dollar against the Swissy. Let me just briefly open up this chart as well, because something worth we should take a look into here. The dollar. There we go. Dollar Swissy. That's something interesting maybe as well. The market being kind of at stabilized levels, but directional potential could be in either direction, right? Resistance area here, turning support there. So if this level is being lost, downside momentum might occur. If this level is being regained, upside potential might be the outcome as well. Plus, we got the 50 moving average, quite an important support zone here. In this consideration might kind of add market opportunity here in this case. Guys, happy trading news-wise. I believe we talked about, we have the interest rate decisions coming up. We have something interesting also in regards to the elections in France. In France, Bloomberg is stating it with a headline or commenting with this headline, French fallout. Yeah, and obviously kind of the upcoming parliamentary elections might shape up markets and cause some fluctuations in the euro. At the moment, the euro, mid of last week, had traded quite on the weaker side of things. The right-wing political parties obviously gearing up some momentum. Rishi Sunak's story in the UK is not any of a big difference as well. The likelihood of a new election, general election with Rishi Sunak, he's getting disastrous polls currently. So that situation might also kind of something which weighs potentially on the British pound moving forward. Guys, happy trading. Talk to you soon. Thanks everyone for tuning in so far. See you then. Take care, everyone. Ciao.